Hi and welcome to 4-Color Alchemy. I'm Led Sharp and I know it's been a while. I am hoping to increase the frequency of the videos this year and tie my TikTok to the channel so there might be a steady stream of content at least. All that being said, everything's fine, pretty decent in fact, and this video is going to be all about the game Midnight Suns and the comic. I got it for Christmas and it blew me away. So I really hope you enjoy my review of it. I know it's a little bit different for the channel, but it's still comic related. I am far from an up-to-date elite gamer. I play games on story mode, at least at first, and game for the immersion and relaxation. Being a mature comic geek, I also have a soft spot for superhero games, even the bad ones. That in the most parts only crime was being rushed out the door before they could go AAA. So having loved the first Insomniac Spider-Man and without any detraction from it, consider the Miles Morales game even better, I asked for and received Marvel's 2022's Midnight Suns because frankly times are hard and Spider-Man 2 was fucking expensive. There are no spoilers ahead for this game, so don't worry. Midnight Suns is a card battler developed by Firaxis Games and published by 2K. It jams a broad selection of Marvel characters and their diverse personalities into a mystically protected church as they plan towards defeating the game's big bad, Lilith. You play the Hunter, a resurrected demon hunter and daughter of the aforementioned villainess that you lost your life to during an episode of Metricide 300 years ago. You get a modicum of character creation and gather in-game currency, all of which is simple enough to get, through a day and night cycle that you repeat by sleeping to start afresh. Graphically, it's more than adequate, with the majority of the design and physical animation adapting the source material dynamically rather than realistically, and unlike Square Enix, created its own well-considered character models rather than copy and paste some tailor's dummy and adorning it with costumes that feel like the studio felt embarrassed about the whole thing. My criticisms are more things I would have liked to have seen rather than things I was sick of seeing. For example, I would have loved a trigger command system in the combat. A press X on strike that would boost the turn in some way. They do this in some of the better Final Fantasies and it adds a soupçon of agency into the mix, like you're contributing to the carefully laid out tactics you've launched for your characters. During the story missions, you start with the chosen characters doing the hero walk towards the camera, and a few of your characters, like Bruce Banner, are doing so in their civvies. With characters like Hulk, Venom and even Iron Man, it would have been so cool to see them suit up or transform as the heroes get their groove on. During the conversation scenes, the camera is a little lackluster. It could do with some close-ups or two, a dynamic twang on the odd dramatic point, but it doesn't detract from the point I am about to make, the true strength of the game. Like I said, my quibbles are just wanting sprinkles on my delicious hot chocolate of an experience. A hot chocolate that you can share with many of the characters in game. There's a friendship meter that you can build up with the characters by doing hangouts and interactions that increase their stats in the turn-based battles. Every conversation has a tree that, without exaggerating, anticipated my responses almost perfectly. There was always an option that fit the bill, and I've only screwed it up twice, even then it never felt unnatural. I grew to like the characters I've never given a crap about because I felt like I actually got to know them through the solid writing and well thought out interactivity. The relationships between the characters are also compelling as you have to navigate the Avengers muscling in on the Midnight Suns turf and the inevitable fallout, which doesn't involve fisticuffs like so many other superhero team-ups. No, it's handled realistically, and considering the setting and the players, it's a refreshing contrast. Not just to the usual way superheroes settle their disputes, but to the battle sequences. There's even a gift system that if you follow the characters closely enough, you get to hear things and consider their personalities, and the gifts that you can give them are geared up towards them. Tony Stark, for example, opens up to you about wanting to learn more about magic. You can give him a magic book, you can consider various options in the dialogue tree that can guide him and help him, and it improves your stats with him, thus improving his position in battle and making the whole thing just flow better. And I think that's a big point about the game. The stats and the character battles make it flow better, not necessarily get easier, but just flow better. When you pull off some amazing tactics and you've got like one card play left and you know that you can just boost that by doing this, that pulls off that, uses an area attack, kills those two monsters and gives the villain a good welly, thus boosting your attack enough to pull off another attack. It's unbelievably satisfying. And all of this stems from the character interactions back at the home base, which, when things start to gel, you get a proper sense of accomplishment, and you start customizing the characters by thinking, they'd love this, rather than I love this. And they look like a crime fighting family, and they eventually get into the smart tactical card-based battle system. The visuals also help, as there's more than a few costumes to choose from, and even customised with colour schemes. So having Spider-Man in his black suit and Venom in Spider-Man's colours is quite amusing, and some genuinely compelling designs like Nico's Shadow Witch and Blair's demon hunting outfits actually made me consider the characters more when I was choosing them. They look awesome. The voice acting is pretty spot on, everything feels suitable for the setting, and the visuals all contribute to an immersive and gripping game loop that I even paid out for the season pass when it was cheap enough. Deadpool's fourth wall breaks are mwah, despite a slight disconnect hearing Nolan North's voice instead of Ryan Reynolds' dulcet tones. Now the comic. I have been reliably informed that there's some 90s material that I will go and dig out if it's cheap enough, but I got this. And despite some flaws, it's a solid bit of high-octane action storytelling that dampens the odd dramatic beat with a bit of poor scene-to-scene storytelling and requiring the odd double take on the art. The core characters of the sons themselves, Blade, Magic, Nico and the Spirit Rider, feel like individuals who actually like working together, and despite an over-reliance on stereotyping characters like Wolverine and Clear, the Sorcerer Supreme at the time, they never feel out of place. The story has enough breadth and depth to get your laps in, and it's certainly a good dessert comic if you need to chill. More importantly, it got me interested in the characters. If I'd have read this first, I possibly would have played the game off the back of it. As it turns out, the game made me want to look out the comic. So there is something in this whole setup that compels me and wants me to take part in it. The game enables that, the comic expands that. It's a great symmetry, and I truly recommend it, especially if you're into the more magic, eldritchy side of the Marvel Universe. This is a solid setup. I truly hope Marvel expand on all this. So there you go. Brilliant game. Highly recommend it. If you see it for sale, get hold of it. It's satisfying. You can just keep doing the game loop. Just utterly recommend it. Very strange side effect though. Hydra is one of the main and the first real antagonists that you come across in the game. And they have the soldier villains, you know, like the Stormtroopers or the Cobra Troopers in G.I. Joe, that kind of thing. You know, the bog standard helmeted, suited soldiers. And they've got like sniper variants and heavy duty variants and that kind of thing. It's weird, but I really wish they'd release action figures of those Hydra soldiers. Something about them just tickled that part of my brain that wants to soldier build action figures. I never really had it before. I've always kind of liked Stormtroopers and Biker Scouts and that kind of armoured grunt figure, you know? That kind of bog standard, here is a soldier, he just looks cool. The Mandalorian effect, but more bog standard. I really want a Hydra action figure, 6-inch, just there. I'd get one of each, and oh, that would make me so happy. I don't think it's ever going to happen, though. The only figure they released for it was Iron Man, I think. I probably will get that if it's going cheap enough somewhere, though. So, recommend the game, recommend the comic, and I will try and get this channel going a bit more. But as it stands, take care and have fun reading comics.